Have you ever had that feeling, where you just think, ugh, I'm just not a math person? Or maybe for you, it's science or art. Well, what if I told you that your brain has these hidden superpowers that can help you learn literally anything? Okay, let's dive in and unlock the secrets of your own mind.
To get started, I want to tell you a story. It's about someone who is living proof that it is never, ever too late to change your brain.
So meet Barb Oakley. Growing up, she absolutely despised math, science, and technology. I mean, she avoided them like the plague. And when she couldn't, well, she usually failed. Which, brings up a pretty huge question, right? How does someone who failed high school math end up becoming a professor of engineering, a field that is all about math and science? How is that possible?
Well, Barb did what we all hear you're supposed to do. Follow your passion. And for her, that was learning new languages. She even joined the army so they would pay her to learn Russian. But after the army, she landed in a technical job she was just completely unqualified for, and her career hit a total wall. That's when she had this shocking realization. By only ever doing what came easily to her, she had actually limited her own future.
This was a real moment of crisis for her. She actually wondered, was it even possible for a language person like her to retrain her brain for something so completely different? It felt like a long shot, but you know what? She decided to try.
And in that process, starting all the way back at the basics of algebra, she stumbled onto this fundamental secret about how our brains actually work, a secret that would let her completely rewire her own abilities.
And that secret? It all comes down to two very different ways our brains operate. Seriously, think of them like two superpowers you can switch between anytime you want. So on one hand, you've got focused mode. This is, well, it's exactly what it sounds like. You're concentrating, you're paying super close attention, you're working through a problem step by step. But on the other hand, you have diffuse mode. This is when your mind is relaxed, maybe you're daydreaming a little, and it's making these big picture creative connections in the background. The focused mode, that's for when you're totally zeroed in, using these tight, concentrated thought patterns. The diffuse mode is the complete opposite. It's all about these wide-ranging, almost random-seeming connections. And here's the key. Learning really well isn't about being focused 100% of the time. Nope, it's about learning how to skillfully switch between the two. To make this idea really stick, let's use a simple and, honestly, pretty fun metaphor.
I want you to imagine that your brain is a pinball machine, and when you think about something, a thought gets launched, that's the pinball, and it starts bouncing around inside.
This illustration just makes it so clear. In focus mode, see how the pinball bumpers are packed really close together? Your thoughts just bounce around in a familiar, tight little pattern. This is perfect for problems you already have a handle on. But then, you get into diffuse mode. The bumpers are spread way out. Your little thought ball can travel all over the machine, making new, totally unexpected connections. This is where those breakthrough ideas come from. But here is the most important rule of the game. You can only be on one of these pinball tables at a time. You're either focused or you're diffuse. You can't be both. So the real skill isn't just having these modes, it's learning how to consciously switch between them. So how do we actually do that? How do we take control and intentionally jump from one mode to the other when we're trying to solve a tough problem?
It's actually way simpler than you'd think. You get into focus mode just by, focusing on something. But when you hit a wall and you get frustrated, the absolute best thing you can do is just stop, relax your mind for a little bit. When you do that, your little thought ball literally drops down to that wide-open diffuse mode table, and that's where it can find a brand new path forward.
And activating your diffuse mode is easy. In fact, you probably already do it without even realizing it. Go for a walk, take a shower, listen to some music, anything that just lets your mind wander. Even just switching to a totally different subject for a while can do the trick. And the ultimate diffuse mode activator? A good night's sleep.
And hey, this isn't just for students. Look at this picture. That's a 13-year-old Magnus Carlsen playing against Garry Kasparov, the best chess player on the planet. During the match, Carlsen kept getting up and wandering around looking at other games. Kasparov was actually annoyed by his lack of focus, but Carlsen wasn't being rude. He was a genius at using his diffuse mode to get a fresh perspective. And guess what? The match ended in a draw.
Okay, so you get the two modes now, right? Let's talk about a super practical technique you can start using today to make learning way more efficient. It's called the picture walk.
The idea is so simple, Before you really dig in and read a chapter, you take just a minute or two to scan it. You're not trying to understand everything yet. You're just getting the lay of the land.
So here's how you do it. Just flip through the pages. Look at the pictures, read the big headings, check out any bolded words. Maybe even glance at the summary questions at the very end. What you're doing is creating a rough mental map before you even start the journey.
Think of it like this. Trying to read a chapter without doing a picture walk first is like throwing a bunch of clothes into an empty closet. They just end up in a messy pile on the floor, right? The picture walk gives your brain mental hangers. So when you actually start reading, you have places to hang all that new information. It stays organized, and it's so much easier to remember.
The message here from Barb Oakley and our co-authors is just so empowering. It's not about being smart or not smart. It's about knowing how to use the incredible brain you already have. These tools are for every single one of us.
Barb's story proves that our brains aren't fixed. You can learn to be a math person or a history person or anything else you want to be. You basically have the instruction manual now. So the only question left is, what are you going to learn first?